Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ricky with Learn Plan Profit. I'm going to give it a couple minutes for everyone to start tuning in. But we just got the test email, so it looks like everything is being sent out already. So you guys should have received the email, right? Well, if you're watching this, I sure hope so. So I personally want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day and making sure that you guys tune into this live stream. I'm going to open up my chat. Before we actually start the live stream, can you guys do me the biggest favor and simply refresh this screen? So I won't be saying much for the next 10-15 seconds. Let me know once you refresh it. Just comment done that you refresh the screen. So you guys could do like Control R, refresh it. The page needs to reload, and I just want to make sure that everyone does this before we get started. I hope that's okay. So let's go ahead and do this. Done, done, done. Sweet. All right, everything should be up and running. Let me check this out. Okay. Here we go. How are we all doing today? Are we all having a good morning? We're all good? I want to ask you guys a couple questions of what you guys expect before we get started. So market opens in about 3 minutes. Again, this is normally a live stream that I only host every single morning, right, at market open. So this is kind of the routine, usually at 6:30. So, right now it's 3 minutes before the market opens, but we come together as a group and we talk about simply the top stocks that we see value in this week. We still don't encourage you to take any positions. There's a lot of good information shared, I think, every single live stream. It's an amazing environment. And so Angela's saying that I look excited. Definitely super excited. I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but I also posted my profits on YouTube, on Facebook, and on the Discord chat. So I was able to lock in the remaining profits that I had on LABU, right? So I was able to lock in $693 profit yesterday. And then I took another position on LABU for a one-day swing trade. And then I was able to lock in a little bit over $700 on that specific trade. I'll show you guys exactly, my P&L, my profits for the day and stuff like that. So, definitely super, super excited. I'm trying to see what it is that you guys are expecting out of this live stream. So if there's one thing that you want to gain from this live stream, what would it be? Is it something that you're struggling in understanding? I just want to know maybe like what to cover. So, yeah. Oh, I like that. So what are we trying to cover today? Someone said money, right? Okay, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, it doesn't matter if someone liked it or disliked it. Again, if someone disliked it, no one's going to be able to see this video other than the people that are, in the private live stream today. So market's going to open in about 30 seconds. So I just wanted to personally thank you guys again for taking time. I know a lot of you guys, some of you guys took time off of work. Some of you guys are staying home, waking up extremely early after a long night. So market opens in about 15 seconds. I just wanted to let those know that they took time out of their day to, join our live stream. So in return, again, if you want to, you 100% don't have to. In the first link in the description, there's a $75 off coupon in the Learn Plan Profit Lesson Library, and feel more than welcome, if at the end of the live stream or as of right now, whenever it is, the coupons are limited, but again, just whenever it is that you feel comfortable, feel free to take advantage of that. So this is pretty much my profit for the day, $720.50. So market open, right? Now let's go ahead and get right to it. So LABU is already showing signs of a sell-off. It was showing signs of a peak formation right around $70.50. Real quick, just so you guys can see it for a little bit. This is pretty much my profits on the day, the $720.50 that I was able to lock in during pre-market hours. Now I want to be able to see what you guys are saying. So here we go. All right, I'm going to close out my active trader. So I'm just going to focus on patterns, right? I want to talk to you guys real quick. So LABU just broke above 69.80. Okay, so all my alerts are going to start going off. But what I wanted to talk about was what is something for all my Learn Plan Profit members that are tuning in right now, what is something that I always try to identify before taking a position during pre-market hours? One of the biggest mistakes, and correct me if I'm wrong, one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of newer traders make is trying to trade when the volatility is at its prime, 15 to 30 minutes right after the market opens. How many of you guys have taken a position to try to predict, right, when a stock is going to shoot up, when a stock is going to pull back, right? When you think that it's going to continue to uptrend, but it struggles to identify, what is it? Anna knows it, Larry knows it, right? Mike knows it. It's direction. How can you invest in something so quickly when you don't understand its direction for the day? People think that right away during pre-market hours, if it just pops up with one green candle, yes, if it's a momentum stock, it can continue to rally. But what if that momentum stops? What if that demand stops, right? Like what usually happens. It peaks out, you buy at the very peak, and then it continues to sell off. How many of you guys have ever been there? How many of you guys would have, just if you would have asked yourself, if I would have waited 15, 30 minutes, I would have identified that, hey, this direction, it was just a false breakout. The direction was a descending pattern, right? So the reason that I love trading ETFs is because this is something that we use as a reference. And again, you 100% don't have to use it. But look, right now for /GC, /GC is trading in between the middle and top VWAP, right? So middle, top VWAP. So it's showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern. So I know I have data to analyze, right? So this is all data, like market closed yesterday right over here. This is all extra data that I could analyze to understand its direction. So I have much more to analyze here to decide what direction JNUG is going to be going. So it makes sense on why it's trending up. So it makes sense, right? If /GC is still showing signs of it being bullish, then it makes sense on why then I can make that same, reference to JNUG. I'm not saying that it is, I'm just using that as an example, right? But if I want to trade something like, Shopify, it's very difficult for me to identify its direction when all I have to go off of is one high, right, during pre-market hours, and then 4 dashes, right? And then the market opens and then it's all over the place. How many of you guys have ever taken a position and not understood its direction? Why, right? So that is why right now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the stocks and try to identify which stocks are showing signs of an uptrend and a downtrend. And then for the remaining 30 minutes, that's going to be for the next 2 minutes. After that, for the 30 minutes that follow, I'm going to be, analyzing any stocks that you guys call out, and we'll break them down together. We need to make sure that they're actively trending up. Today's Friday. I want to focus on a day trade opportunity to enter and exit all within one day. So the opportunity and its direction should be up, right? The margin of profit should be there. So I think that's something that we could all agree on, right? All right, so let's go ahead and get to it. So looking at the direction, I want you guys to break it down with me because again, I'm not here to spoon feed anyone. Looking at the direction for ticker symbol SQ, what direction is it going? What direction is it going? TQQ is looking like it's actively trending up. Yes, so it's inverse ETF, which is SQQQ, right? So it's trending between the SMA line or the middle VWAP and then the bottom VWAP, right? What direction is it going? Down, right? So I'll set my alert here if there's so the SMA line, since that's acting as a resistance. But as of right now, right, let's do an analysis. Yesterday, this thing pushed up about 7 to 8% if I'm not mistaken, right? So it makes sense in why it's selling off. So now I'm going to remove SQQQ off of my watch list and put its inverse ETF, which is TQQQ, as that should be showing signs of an uptrend, right? Now we're trading in between the middle and top VWAP. But I want to make sure that this pattern continues. I don't feel comfortable taking a position right now. There's not enough. I just don't, right? And I'm just sharing that. It doesn't mean that you don't have to, right? I want it to continue to make higher highs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my alert and then follow up with it then. So I'm going to move on to the next one. DGAS. What direction is DGAS going? What direction, right? It peaked out and is now showing signs of a sell-off. It had an amazing, absolutely amazing green day yesterday. Huge recovery. Overall direction pointing up. That's what I want. This is the pattern that I want to invest in. Middle, top VWAP, scalping it, margins being huge, right? Or at least good enough for a day trade. What is happening right now? A downtrend pattern. Do I want to trade DGAS? Again, probably not, right? So all I'm going to do is I'm going to set my alert, and now I know that DGAS is not probably one that I want to focus on, so I'm going to add the inverse ETF, UGAS. That's simple, right? Now I'm focusing on whatever's actively trending up. Now for JNUG, what's going on here, right? Again, /GC, which is the gold-based future, was showing signs of it trading between the middle and top VWAP, which is showing signs of it being bullish, right? So JNUG is showing the same characteristics as of now. Previous resistance based on yesterday's highs around 950. So as around 935 to 950, it's about 1.5%. from lows to highs if I were to buy at the dip, right? Or I'm sorry, based on its current price point. I apologize. So 1.2%. That doesn't, that's not so much of a good deal for me. It's a little bit more on the overextended side. So it looks like it's trying to pull back. And on top of that, look at the RSI, look at the MACD, and then the margin of profit. So yes, it's trending up. And yes, it could probably hit 950. I just have to ask myself, look, I made over $700 today trading, right? On the week, I'm up, what is it? I believe it's 4,600 if I'm not mistaken, including all my profits for this week so far. Do I want to give any of that back? No. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to not take a position until I see and find something that's an extremely good deal that's actively trending up, making sure that it meets my criteria, right? So I'm going to just leave it here. It's still actively trending up, so I'm going to leave it there, but then move on, right? So TQQ, again, trying to make higher highs. This is exactly what we wanted to see. I'm going to be patient, right? Because if this thing continues to uptrend, based on yesterday's patterns, we have a lot of margin to cover, a lot of margin. So even if I take a position at the later times, so at least it's 1.76%, and at least I'm going to feel comfortable with its overall direction rather than trying to guess, right? Ticker symbol DNR. Volume is a little bit low on this one. Looks like it's still trying to decide if it's going to reverse or not. So I'm going to remove it since I know I'm just not going to take a position today since its movement is not enough intraday, right? I just have to be realistic with myself. You guys, we talked about it. LABU was selling off, which is the stock that I personally had a position on. Looks like it was up during pre-market hours. Now it's sold off. So what we'll do is we'll set an alert, right? We'll also set an alert if this thing continues to sell off, because if this thing continues to sell off, that means that LABD, which is its inverse ETF, will then start to continue to sell off. So there we go. TQQ just broke its resistance, right? LABD, just like we talked about, right? So I'm going to set my alert here. Again, all morning, all we want to do right now is set alerts. Right now, JDST is trending down, so I'm going to remove that from my list. We got ticker symbol SHOP trying to just really consolidate, so I'm going to set an alert there. If this thing gets going, then yes, it could really cover some margin, but as of right now, I'm not too focused on that. Let me understand now the direction, right? So we were talking about UGAS, we were talking about DGAS. So what is the current direction for natural gas? So as of right now, during extended hours, it was showing signs of a sell-off. So UGAS would have been selling off. So if this thing sells off, then UGAS follows. But as the market began to become close to market open, LABU just broke above 69.25. Solid. Okay. So all we see now is that this thing is starting to make higher highs. Do you guys see this? So it's starting to recover and it just broke above the middle VWAP. We want that pattern to continue. Be sure to keep a very close eye on where this is trading if you began or plan to take a position on any natural gas ETF. Huge sell-off on JNUG. Solid, right? And that kind of makes sense because, do you see this? It broke now below the middle VWAP. So this bullish pattern that it had, again, it was struggling to make higher highs. Do you see this? So this made sense on why it was being bullish, because it would make higher lows and higher highs as well. This was the exact opposite. Lower lows and lower highs as well. So it makes sense on why maybe, again, it's been struggling to make higher highs. So where's JNUG? So JNUG is trying to recover. We'll see how it follows. Now, out of every stock that you guys are watching that's actively trending up on the day and that offers a decent margin of profit, 1.5% or greater in my eyes. Again, you might have your own criteria, but what is it? Holy moly, it's Jason Bourne. Here we go. Ticker symbol TQQ. So it looks very overextended as of right now. Do you see this pattern, right? It trades in between the middle and top VWAP, but then when it pushes up very, aggressively, it sells off and bounces off the SMA line. Something that we want to take into consideration, right? Okay, so people are bringing up Microsoft. Okay, it's not up very much. It's definitely trending up, but do you see, let me ask you guys this. Look at Microsoft right now and the price point that it's at right now. Is this a good buy right now? Is this a good buy? Holy moly. LBU shot up again. It's back at its resistance for pre-market highs. Let's just take that into consideration. So that covered about 3%. That's solid. So for Microsoft, again, we could all understand that yes, it's pushing up and it's green on the day, but it's a little bit more on the overextended side. Look at that MACD, look at this RSI. So it makes sense on, again, looking at previous patterns, seeing where it normally bounces at. Again, I'm here to focus on a good deal to get the best deal possible. So I'm going to set an alert for the pullback, and if it bounces off the SMA line, great. It meets my criteria. I could follow up with it then. Yeah. Here we go. Ticker symbol TQQ, still trending up. So RSI is becoming a little bit more on the overextended side. I have all my alerts set here. We'll set the alert for the break above $59, but there should be a pullback coming soon. Again, so now this is showing more signs of it truly identifying its direction of it being green on the day. We got JNUG, again, still trying to make higher highs. We got LABU back above 70. But again, what's one thing that LABU is not doing? What's one thing that LABU is not doing? So yes, it had a nice recovery, so that would have been a good dip buy opportunity. But what is one thing that LABU is not doing right now? So not making higher highs. That is exactly it. Again, it's higher highs that really gives me a better understanding. So like for ticker symbol TQQ, for example, this thing continues to progressively push up, right? And that's attractive. If we want our account to grow, then we want the patterns to follow. But as of right now, LABU is not necessarily doing that. It's just really riding this resistance that it has right around 70.50. Right? And then it becomes overextended and then sells right back off again. That's great for the dip buy opportunities, but again, this is not progressively making higher highs, so it's not being really bullish on the day. So that breakup pattern can happen at any time. So it's not that you want to buy into higher highs, so that's a good question. So do I mean that, like, you know, as of ticker symbol TQQ, this thing is making higher highs? Does this mean that I want to buy right now? No, it's the pattern in which I follow. So as long as it's making higher highs, but then I wait for the sell-off and I focus on a good deal and then it recovers, that's what I find attractive. The difference from that and LABU as of right now is that this thing is not progressively making higher highs or showing any signs of an uptrend. It's just flatlining and consolidating. So it continues to pull back and then just ride that resistance line. Pulls back, ride that resistance line. And that's not something that I personally find as, you know, its overall direction showing signs of growth. That's all I meant by that. Let's see. Okay, so how do you get the 3 lines? So what brokerage are you using? If you're using the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform, I have default settings on mine. Can I look at WTI? Of course, let's do it. So thank you again, T, for tuning in. So we got WTI showing signs of a very strong push up, 795 as of right now, up over 4% on the day. This should be in favor of /CL. Where's that at? /CL, definitely showing signs of an uptrend pattern. Why didn't anyone call that out? /CL, showing signs of an uptrend pattern. That means that UWT, right, should be up on the day, as this is its correlating ETF, showing signs of it being, you know, bullish on the day. UWT, here we go. And then that means that Gush should also follow. Gush is trying to, you know, will follow. So that means that Drip should be on the red, and then DWT should be in the red as well. And that's the inverse ETFs. So we got ticker symbol TQQ really riding that $60 price point. Do you guys see this? Oh, 59, I apologize. There we go, 59.05, had a really nice push up. I like that. William is saying you could even set a VWAP as default on Yahoo Finance. Yeah, and my default settings for the VWAP is -2 +2, right? With the middle VWAP being at 0. Here we go, LABU, rejected, right? It pushed up to about 775 and then just gets rejected again. Not a good deal, it becomes overextended. If it continues to push up and then pull back, that's a little bit different. But as of right now, again, all I can go off of are its highs and then the sell-off that it just had. So right now, I would wait before taking a position. UWT, again, progressively pushing up. Now it's due for a pullback, right? So I want to focus on getting a good deal. And that's why I have to be a little bit more selective with what I choose to take a position on. Ticker symbol JNUG, trying to hold above the middle VWAP and the EMA line. You know, will it hold? I don't know. We'll have to set the alert and then follow up with it. Here we go. Look at that MACD. MACD, RSI. What do you guys think about ticker symbol TQQQ? What do you guys think about it? There we go. Making lower lows. Overbought, overbought. Too expensive. I love it. What are we, guys? If we consider ourselves, investors, what are we? I've talked about it multiple times before, even in the YouTube live streams. What are we? We're deal hunters. There we go. Dancing camera. I like it. So it's stuck. We're deal hunters in every market that we invest in. Deal hunters. We're here to find the best deals in everything that we choose to invest in, right? As long as we have that mindset, investing in cars, investing in real estate, investing in businesses, investing in the stock market, investing in cryptocurrency, investing in Forex, whatever market, right, that you want to invest in, focusing on getting a good deal. And the only way that you can make sense of a good deal is if you understand what it is that you're trading, right? And then how to manage risk according to the way that the margin of profit outweighs the margin of loss. That's usually what makes up and sums up a good deal, right? What are we? Dingleberries. What's going on, Al Capone? So here we go. You guys making higher highs. You guys really starting to trend up. There we go. Really starting to push up. Watch out with this resistance that it had yesterday, right around 324. It's about 325 for you guys. So it might begin to become a little bit more on the overextended side. Again, it's doing a really nice job actively trending up, but it's only going to trend up for so much before it has a really nice pullback. And then after that pullback, we'll have a better understanding if that direction will hold. Here we go. We're getting some consolidation right now. That margin just isn't worth it for me. Again, I was about to take a position right now, right? But just that this margin isn't worth it for me, especially with my average up approach. I'm only going to take like a 50% position to about maybe $15,000. And as of right now, 0.5%. Again, my sole focus is I don't want to give back any of the profits that I already made on, LABU. And as of right now, this isn't looking like a good deal. It doesn't show like it can continue to uptrend. No pattern, right? For instance, isn't showing signs that it could continue to uptrend before it could sell off. Yeah, of course, Brian. So HSGX, let's do it. HSGX, so as of right now, with its overall direction and how it's trading since, its extended hours, and as of right now, it's been making lower highs, right? And it's been making lower lows, so it's showing signs of a descending pattern. On this 180-day chart, also, I personally don't like trading stocks that aggressively sell off this much with its overall descending pattern. The risk just becomes a little bit too high. Also, if you're someone that's just getting started, usually these lower cap stocks are much easier to get manipulated. So when you see these huge pushes up, I'm not sure, or based on recent patterns, when it had this huge spike of volume, again, make sense of it. What caused this push up? It might have been fake news, whatever, manipulation, it was promoted on stock twits, whatever the case may be. But as of right now, it was super overbought. Right, you could see the RSI, you could see the MACD, and now it's selling off. I would completely stay away from these. So LABU is doing a great job now starting to actually make higher highs. This is what we wanted to see, to identify its direction. So again, we're patient, we're selective. Now we have, ticker symbol TQQ to choose from, showing signs of an uptrend. We got UWT, right, showing signs of an uptrend. LABU, showing signs of an uptrend. UGAS, showing signs of an uptrend. All these different ETFs, right, and stocks that we are able to first break down, identify their direction, and then now we could solely focus on whatever's actively trending up on the day. How amazing is that? Now you don't have to be all over the place when it comes down to wanting to take a position, because now we know what is actively trending up. Let's see. There we go. LEBD just broke again below its support. There we go. Look at this one. LEBU, super solid push up. So it broke above its resistance and then just pushed up about 1.5%. Now it's becoming a little bit more on the overextended side. So now what we want to see if that pullback confirmation follows. So I'm just going to set an alert here for a potential pullback, see if it bounces. And if that rally continues, then guess what? I can take a position and scalp this thing as it continues to push up. And again, the inverse ETF of LEBU is LEBD. There we go. UWT, this one follows with /CL. We got JNUG really still just consolidating right around 940. So again, not really making higher highs as of right now. And then we got TQQ. So TQQ continues to push up. And like if I were not like up so much this week, I probably would have taken a position on TQQ around this area already, right? So the reason why I probably would have been a little bit more aggressive in trying to, you know, take positions. But as of right now, all I'm really trying to focus on, like, does that make sense though? All I'm really trying to focus on right now is to focus more on quality picks. Does that make sense? So I'm going to set an alert for, again, a better deal. So yes, it's pushing up and that's great. It can continue to push up. The risk is just too high for me to take a position right now because it has all this margin to lose with such little margin to gain. And I have to make sense of that. FOMO, so the fear of missing out, cannot overwhelm me as of right now. It should not, right? 1%. UWT, so let's follow with /CL. /CL, super overextended. So it's an ascending uptrend pattern, but super overextended. So we ask ourselves, that's why I like to go back and forth and use these as references. Now looking at UWT, it makes sense on why it's so overbought. Look at this MACD, look at this RSI on why it will begin to pull back, right? So let's set the alerts and let's just follow up with it. So what will be the margin if it bounces off the middle VWAP? Less than 1% if it just goes back to old highs. But if it sells back off to the SMA line and then goes back off to around, you know, highs for the day, 2%, much more attractive. So did you take any positions today, Ricky? No. The only thing that I've done today is I've sold my position on LEBU during pre-market hours. That's, yeah, so $720 is what I'm up as of now, but that was due to my position that I took yesterday that I sold today. I like that. You had no idea what FOMO was? Yeah, the fear of missing out. How many of you guys take positions sometimes because you see something progressively moving up and then forget about the, you know, criteria of asking yourself, I'm taking this position because it's actively trending up, but is it even a good deal? Does the margin of profit that it has yet to cover outweigh the margin of loss? I've 100% done that so many times. I'm not any different, right, than a normal person. We're all normal, we're all human, and emotions and fear, you know, definitely come into play. Oh man, Kevin's saying I'm gonna be late to work. You should head to work. Again, if you have access to this link, you could always watch the recap. Just like, you know, if you're part of Learn Plan Profit, we have, you know, anytime that you're not able to catch the live stream live, all you have to do is go to our morning live chat library, and it's kind of like our own like little YouTube where people can go back and simply just, you know, rewatch the videos that we've uploaded. That's all. Again, it's super cool, right? Being able to trade with our group live. So here we go. Again, want to make sure that I'm picky, that I'm selective. I really wanted to take a position for you guys, right? I really wanted to take a position. So unlikely is calling out Roku, but I need to be extremely selective with what I choose to invest in. And I'm definitely still up on the day, and you know, I want to continue to grow my account, and I need to make sure that, again, my number one focus is an uptrend. JNUG just broke below its support. So I see this to be a descending pattern as of right now. It's still getting rejected by this EMA indicator, so I would not personally trade it as of right now. So we just heard that there is a UGAS dip. Okay, let's check this out. Okay, so UGAS is selling off a little bit more. I like that. How's this? So let's look at natural gas. Yep, okay. Well, we called this one out, right? So around 324 to 325, that's exactly what we said, right? How did I know that? Based on the pre-market analysis, right? Other data, other charts, right? I could see that this is when it becomes a little bit more on the overextended side. Look at the RSI. Look at the RSI. Look at the RSI. Not a good deal. Yes, it can continue to uptrend. So as of right now, like 100%, you guys can bounce here and then push right back up. So if it pushes right back up, you know, the margin of profit might be worth it. It's 1.5%. It's not bad, right? So we got Sandra asking, do you have a coupon for your Learn Plan Profit course? So Sandra, I don't know, or for anybody that did not tune in live right as we did go live, to say thank you for your time for the next 1 hour. For those that feel like are not already enrolled, that want to enroll in the Learn Plan Profit Lesson Library, we entered a coupon code down in the first link in the description. If you don't see it, all you have to do is refresh your page and it's $75 off. So that's definitely our largest coupon. And if you feel ready, like you want to enroll, great. You know, we'd love to be a part of your success. If you don't feel like you're ready yet, then again, don't feel encouraged like you have to. But just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that it was there. So do you guys see this? Now we're starting to get more of a push up. So you guys, this might be due to the margin of profit. Due to the margin of profit that, again, I want to start seeing higher highs. Due to the margin of profit that that you guys has to offer, if it were to cover this, it's about 1.5% if it goes back to old highs. But as of right now, it's really just consolidating. So what I'll do is I'll set my alert, but as of right now, it's not really showing signs of an uptrend. So now it's selling off, which means that DGAS should then try to recover, right? So let's see where natural gas is at. Here we go. I want to get a little bit more confirmation. So what I'm going to do right now is, again, let me go here. Set up DGAS. Again, this is my trade. Please do not trade based off of my opinion, right? What I'll do is I'm going to take a 50% position. So we'll set it at market price. There we go. Nice little pullback. Here we go. Now, the reason that I took that 50% position is because if it ends up getting rejected around this EMA line and then continues to make lower lows, guess what? I'll have to cut losses. But if it continues to push up and make higher highs, I can add more to my position, right? And then sell at around the middle VWAP, right? Wherever it is that I see value. So one thing that I want to follow is what happens with natural gas. Is natural gas going to make lower lows and start to sell off? That's in favor of DGAS if this thing begins to sell off. If this thing begins to recover, then that's in favor of UGAS. Does that make sense? So I know that natural gas is very overextended right now on the day, not even taking into consideration of how overextended it is, right, on the 180-day chart, but solely on the day. 1 day, 1 minute chart, overextended, looking at, so I'll draw out the resistance, right, based on yesterday's highs. It's not a good deal. So here we go. But again, we're getting a lot of consolidation, so it doesn't matter if it's a good deal, if it's a bad deal, nothing like that. Right now, we need to understand, so that's why I took my initial position. So right now, it's called what I like to call a critical point. Are we going to start seeing higher highs here? And if so, I probably want to get out of my DGAS position because I don't want to experience when this thing pushes up when I'm in DGAS, which is the inverse of this. Does that make sense? So I'm going to set an alert here. And we'll see what happens. Again, if this thing begins to recover, I have to be quick, right? I have to be quick. So if this thing begins to recover, I'll cut losses quick on DGAS, and then that means that most likely UGAS will begin to try to recover. But because it's so overbought, I see more value in DGAS, right? I see more reason on why people will begin to lock in profits. The demand begins to fall, right, for natural gas, and it begins to sell off. So look at that MACD, look at this RSI, here we go. So what I'm going to do here for DGAS is I'm going to have my sell position ready, 100%. So we're actually getting a nice little push up, so I'm up $22 so far, again with a 50% position. But I'm just going to have my sell position ready, so as I follow natural gas. There we go. So now we're getting a little bit more confirmation that natural gas is not really making lower lows right now. I apologize. I thought we got the confirmation. I thought it made a lower candle. Again, how do you know when something is trending up? How do you know when something is trending up? It makes higher highs. How do you know when something is then trending down? It makes lower lows. So when it begins to show me an actual reason on why it's making lower lows, then that's a confirmation of direction for me. There we go. Push down, push up. So now we'll go here. And again, it doesn't mean 100% that it has to go according to my plan, but it's just something that I can do to have a better understanding, right, of its direction. There we go. Just bought another 1,000 shares, right? So 100% of my position is now ready to sell. And then we can go from there. And 100%, like, although I waited for that confirmation, what is something that we've talked about multiple times? Because again, look, it's trying to recover right away, building a support right around 322 and trying to recover. So Diaz is back at 1430. What is something that we've talked about multiple times? That just because you weigh and you plan out your success, right? So just like I waited to take my 50% position, waited for confirmation of a downtrend. So yes, I could have waited a little bit more. Regardless of how selective you are or how picky you are, you do that to focus, manage your risk, and trade accordingly, right? To trade stocks that meet your criteria. But not every single time, even if you do everything in your power, does a stock have to play according to your plan. And we are all aware of that, right? And that's why it's so important to focus on, managing risk. Because that's what differentiates those that will be successful and those that aren't. Those that can manage how much money they give back, it doesn't matter if you take 3 red trades for every 1 green trade. So out of 4 trades that you have a 25% success rate, we've talked about it multiple times if you're part of Learn, Plan, Profit. So Sandra just got the course. Sandra, super happy to have you as a part of the team. I'm looking forward to trading live with you again on Monday. But what I focus on more is making sure that, how do I put this, or how to make an example of this? I apologize. Give me 1 second. There we go. Yeah, so that is why it's so important to have a good understanding of, if you continue to manage your risk, and in the Learn, Plan, Profit lesson library, we call it the golden ratio. So if you could focus on trading stocks that offer, let's say, a 5% margin of profit, and every single time that you take a position, you manage your risk at 1%, you can take 3 red trades. And because your risk is managed at 1%, right? You get back 3% with those 3 red trades, but only 1 has to go according to your plan. And if you focus on every stock meeting your criteria, every stock that you manage risk at 1%, and that, your 4th position, right? Regardless of what it is, it offers a 5% margin of profit and a 1% margin of loss, but then it plays out according to plan, a 25% success rate. Pretty low. So did you drink Red Bull this morning? No, I didn't. But again, pretty low. But as long as you can control how much money you give back, how many of you guys have ever thought of that? If you can control how much money that you can give back, you can consistently grow your account. And that's something that I think not enough people think about, because all we're thinking about is maximizing how much money we can make in one day. I've had people, especially within TechBot Solutions, have 50% days, 60% days, 100% days because they trade options, right? But then, or super high risk stocks. But as soon as they experience 1 red trade and they don't know how to manage risk and they don't know how to cut losses, what happens? They give back everything that they made and then some. And that's one of the worst feelings ever. When you give back, when you go from green to being red. And it's because you did not manage your risk, because you did not understand what it was that you were trading. And that's an area of opportunity that we can focus on later down the road. Again, it takes time to understand patterns. It takes time to understand direction. It takes time to understand, overall like risk management. And that is why we have such a strong focus within even our YouTube channel, but especially Learn Plan Profit. We have so many people that have and are starting with, you know, $1,000, $50,000. We have a guy that had $170,000, right? It doesn't matter how much money you have. It's a blessing that you have that foundation to build off of. But what's most important is to prove to yourself first that you can actually grow your account, right? So once you prove to yourself consistently that you understand what you're doing and that you can grow your account, that's one of the best feelings ever. And the reason that I say that is because, again, you want to make sure that if you want to do this for a long period of time, not just, you know, a couple months, not just a couple weeks, not just a year or 2 years, but years down the road, it makes sense on why you want to make sure to be able to understand what you're doing so you can become self-sufficient and being able to do this yourself, right? So as I'm going on this rant, natural gas decided to change directions and now it's beginning to pull back a little bit. So now we're down $97. So I gave back a little bit, which is fine, right? Let's look at natural gas again, see where this is trading at. Let's see if it holds. So do you take positions on every live video for the Learn Plan Profit on the daily? So I go live to trade live, but if something does not meet my criteria, you know, I am not going to feel forced to take a position. There's been very few times that I've gone live, and I think, some of our members within Learn Plan Profit can vouch for this. There's been very few live streams where I don't actually take a position. My sole focus is answering questions. Like that's my sole focus for my entire live stream. I've done it multiple times, right? We did it yesterday where I did not lock in profits quick enough in one of my positions. I did not lock in profit, or I did not enter my position quick enough. So now we're back up, I believe, on Diaz. Okay. I did not lock in profits quick enough or enter my position quick enough on one of my trades yesterday. And it was because I was so focused on working with the Learn Plan Profit team. Like that's my main focus. Like, of course I want to trade, but I would much rather, like, you know, forget about my profits that I'm making for the day, lock it in, call it a day, and then focus on talking about the top stocks that I see value in or breaking down a stock that you see value in and stuff like that. That's much more like important and apparent to me, right? Here we go. Are we getting a rejection? So again, now we're getting the lower highs. My mouth's a little dry. I apologize. Let's see. What was that alert? WTI just broke its resistance. So Ricky gets distracted with helping people and misses trades a few times. He's all, and the biggest thing is like, I'm still trading, and there's moments that if it's in the earlier stages of the live stream, that I focus on my position, and then as people are asking questions, like I pause that, and then I can complete my position and then continue with whatever is being asked. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing as of right now. So I see some people talking about, is the stream freezing and stuff like that. The stream on my side, everything is showing to be green. So I'm not too sure if you can change like the settings or something like that that can help out with that. But okay, so up a little bit over $100 on Diaz as of right now. So that puts me up a little bit over $800 on the day. Here we go, 142, back up to that 144 again, and then my second position that I locked in during pre-market hours, the 720. Here we go. But most importantly, how is Diaz doing? So again, it's making lower lows, and that's what we want to see. So let's see if we can get a strong push down. This thing's one that I feel like I could hold until it sells back off to the middle VWAP. Or should I just lock in profits? Should we risk it to get the biscuit or lock in profits? What do you guys think? No, it's not that he's freezing. He stops moving for like 10 seconds because he's concentrated. Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going. Here we go. Risk it. Lock it in. Lock it in. Hold half. Okay. I like that. So what I'll do is my position to sell should be here. So instead of a 100% sell, I'll sell, well, not 500%, my goodness. 50%, right? So I'm going to sell 50% of my position once I see more of a push up to its resistance. So I probably should have sold it already when it was at 140, at 1440, but it's all good. So again, I'm not going to focus on how much I'm up or how much I'm down or anything like that. I'm going to focus on its pattern and its direction. As of right now, /NG, again, trying to recover, so it's trying to push right back to the EMA line. This is normal. As something progressively descends, again, it doesn't just normally shoot down. It normally makes lower lows and lower highs and then continues to descend, right? There we go. Nice little push up. We'll see what happens. So Don is saying, I tell him to scale out all the time, but he loves to ignore me. Well, my biggest focus is always just locking in profits. So it's not that I mean, I don't always see your comments on, but yeah. There we go. Here we go. Let's see if we begin to get a sell-off. Again, there's another lower high. Do you check the RSI on the 180-day 1 minute mark? Yes, I would, you know, it is like, you know, if you want to use the 180-day chart to look at the RSI and stuff like that, 100% to have a better understanding with its overall direction. Can you guys answer this? So why is it that if I'm day trading something, right? So if I'm day trading something, why is it that I might be so much more focused about the 1 day 1 minute chart and shorter time frames than maybe the 180-day chart? Why is the 180-day chart maybe not so important to me as of right now, because I plan on day trading this? Can you guys answer this? So relevant patterns, right? So there we go. So the reason why that I, you know, focus so much more on just the 1 day 1 minute chart or maybe the 5 day 5 minute chart is because I try to identify relevant patterns, maybe relevant resistance levels that are a little bit more apparent and realistic for them to act as a resistance or for them to act as a support, right? You guys all know this, right? So yes, it's good to understand its overall direction on the 180-day chart. It's very important, but it's not going to be so important or so relevant to my day trade position. So right now, the resistance that, you know, natural gas is experiencing right now is something that, you know, makes sense on why this resistance was here yesterday. But if I go, you know, 5 years down the road, that overall, you know, like going back 5 years to try to see if there is a resistance here, it's just not going to become as apparent, as relevant. So yeah. How to see /NG. So again, it's just /NG that we type in the TOS platform. It might be a little bit different depending on what brokerage it is that you're using, and some don't offer futures. So that's something that you have to take into consideration. All right, so we have a remaining 15 minutes in this live stream. So what I wanted to do was, for all those that are tuning in live today, I wanted to see, so not technical analysis and not breakdowns on stocks that you guys want me to break down. I can do that shortly after. I can direct message each and every single one of you. But what is it that, you know, is an open-ended question or overall like mindset that you might want to ask? Maybe the reason that you joined this live stream, right? Because you wanted to ask one of your questions. So a lot of brokerages don't have futures. I agree. Met my weekly goal this week. Thanks for everything that you do. Jake the Flying Snake. What's going on, man? Of course. Super happy to have you. Let's see. And again, please be sure to tag me if you're going to ask me a question, just so it's easier for me to identify. How many swing trade positions do you recommend taking at once? Again, everyone's different. For myself, I like to focus on being very micro-focused. So having more than 2 positions at one time can be even overwhelming for myself, especially if they're not going according to my plan. And again, you always want to prepare, at least in my eyes, for worst case scenario. So I would rather focus on really just 1, but if you want 2 stocks that you really see value in, that are showing signs of an uptrend direction, that are, meet all your criteria, just because it'd be a lot easier for you to manage. No, so live gains. If you're asking if I manage my risk at 1% and stuff like that, that was just an example. So we utilize the golden ratio in the Learn Plan Profit videos, and then the concept as someone is just getting started. As time goes on, again, I don't personally manage my risk at solely just 1%. With a larger position as I have right now, that would be ideal, but I try to focus more on break-if pattern. So yes, sometimes I risk a little bit more, but it's because there it goes. So DGAS again just popped right back down, had a really nice push up. So that means that as of right now, then I'm probably down a little bit more than what's it called? A little bit more than I would have been if I would have managed my risk at 1%. But with my overall average position size, so right now at 1431, so 1431. Right? And how much I'm down right now? It's about that 1% mark. So if I really wanted to, ultimately cut losses, it would be right around this specific price point. So that's a really good question. Where do you see LPP going in the next 5 years? So obviously we're going to as in scaling it out and stuff like that. When it comes down to, my biggest concern is just my biggest focus is the live trading sessions. So to continue to provide value in our live trading sessions, but then to maybe have more experienced mods. So that's something that we're working on right now that can assist as well while I'm trading live, to also answer a bunch of FAQs. But my sole focus is, again, for Learn Plan Profit, is to get a large number of individuals within the trading community to all have a general understanding of how to invest in the stock market. And the thing that I truly love most about Learn Plan Profit is I love these live trading sessions, but one of the biggest resources that I've utilized to my day-to-day trading has to be our watch list, right? Or our, what's it called? Our group alert section, which means that, it gives me a better understanding of what our traders see value in as of right now, and how I can make sense of that. So if I see that someone is identifying something that maybe isn't so much of a good deal, that's a little bit more on the overextended side, or its overall direction just isn't really showing signs of an uptrend, it's very easy for me to identify that and point it out and make it apparent to them. Now, another thing is, we have a lot of great traders that are sharing great quality information, that because of them being able to understand what they're investing in due to what they experience in the course, we become a huge networking hub of quality information being shared, and that's the goal. So I'm currently on my phone. Will I be able to watch this later? Yep, you'll be able to watch this later. So what I mean by this is in your perfect position checklist, or my criteria checklist, right? What do you mean by margin of profit exceeds 3% from the previous resistance? So what I mean is that if something is progressively making higher highs, especially most likely for a swing trade, I want there to be again, the margin of profit for it to be attractive, that it shows based on previous patterns that it at least offers a larger margin of profit than it does for loss. So again, if it's let's say that we're trading something like this, right? So around 324, 325, that if it progressively starts to make higher highs, that based on previous patterns, that it had a high that was 3% higher than what we're at right now, that shows me that, hey, it could potentially get to that specific point. That's what I mean by that. %. So my biggest, if I can say my two biggest struggles when I first got started was managing risk, right? And understanding direction. So I was someone that in the very beginning focused a lot on lower cap stocks because to me, and like a lot of people, it makes sense to trade lower cap stocks that because maybe you have a smaller dollar value to start out with. So it makes sense, risk it to get the biscuit, higher margin of profit, but with higher margin of profit comes higher margin of risk as well. And that was a huge downfall for me, especially with the combination of struggling on how to manage risk. I like that. I think that that has to be one of the best sayings ever, right, Jake? So I made my money in 1 hour, time to go to class, but best job ever, using my money to make money. I think that's one of the biggest blessings, right? To understand how to invest your hard-earned money to be able to make that money back, right? Yeah, so a nice scalp, but a lot of these people are having $1,000 to $3,000. And if you're adding to the fees, this is why people are trading penny stocks. 100%. The biggest thing with trading lower cap stocks is that, people think that, okay, lower cap stocks, if I can make 5%, or trade a lower cap stock that offers 5%. So some automatically as a beginner were to just get started, people would find it to be so much more attractive to trade lower cap stocks, let's say a $5 cap or lower, because it's more affordable, right? But they don't actually focus on its direction and the margin of profit that it has to offer. There's no difference. If you have $1,000 to your name and there's a $1,000 stock that offers a margin profit, a 5% margin of profit, or there's a $1 stock that offers a 5% margin of profit as well, the margin of profit is the same. But most likely that $1,000 stock that you could only buy one share of, people would find it to be less attractive because I could only buy one share. Right? But if you focus on the deal, the direction, and the margin of profit that it has to offer, you would understand that, okay, that $1,000 stock is probably going to be a safer investment because it's not going to be as volatile, right? And it's a little bit more consistent, most likely. Do you guys get that correlation? So people automatically, as they're just getting started, think that because it's more affordable, that it offers a higher margin of profit because you could buy more shares. Again, that's irrelevant. It's the margin of profit that it has to offer. And again, I'm speaking based on my opinion and my experience. I have noticed that within our Learn Plan Profit community, focusing so much more on stable and consistent patterns have acted as a positive catalyst for a lot of our Learn Plan Profit members. And you could ask any of them. I mean, a lot of them are in the Tech But Solutions chat, and you're more than welcome to speak to them about, hey, is the approach of investing in higher cap or mid to higher cap stocks, did you find that to be more successful? Again, ask yourself, are you here to grow your account for today? Or is this something that you want to continue to do for years down the road? That's the biggest question to ask yourself. So yes, people can be having huge green days right now as the market is very volatile. But again, it's a skill set that you want to understand and be able to develop years down the road. So does it make more sense to you to be so micro-focused on, what is, trending right now and just focus on that and try to risk it, like make it or break it right now to discourage yourself to ever trade again, in the future? Or does it make more sense to like, hey, as I'm just getting started, I understand that, 5-10 years down the road, if I could really refine myself as a trader right now and prove to myself that I can grow my account, so not trading such aggressive stocks, then I'm going to feel so much more confident and encouraged to trade down the road. I'll probably also be trading with a larger dollar amount. Because again, I will save more money to invest in something that I see value in, and that's yourself, right? So if you're trading with $1,000 right now, just imagine how much you could be saving or have, 5 or 10 years down the road. And focusing on these, again, higher, mid to higher cap stocks with more relevant patterns, experiencing and being able to actually consistently grow your account on a consistent basis, that's what's much more attractive to me. Long-term growth, not just something that, you can make. Again, I just want to use this for an example, but I don't mean to discourage anybody that does crypto investing. But, for all those that were crypto traders, They were super relevant. They were super, aggressive, taking on Bitcoin, right? But then it's such an aggressive approach that it only lasts for a short period of time. And then now what, right? Months have gone by and nothing. Same thing with trading. Again, you can approach it however it is that you want. But all I want you to ask yourself is, what are you doing to be able to do this 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road? It makes sense on why not to buy into an alert-based system. That's why I always tell you guys, based on my experience, that it doesn't make sense on why you should be paying for someone to tell you where to buy and where to sell. That's why we've never done that. It does not build self-sufficiency. But what does make sense is to work with a group, work with an individual, right? That actually will assist you in making sense and understanding what it is that you're doing. That's much more important because, again, 5, 10 years, 30 years down the road, it doesn't matter if you're part of this group anymore. You have this skill set that you can utilize for the rest of your life. And I think that's what's important. Perfect. Yep. And this is the quote that we've been using for a while, and Edmund said it best. So give a man a fish and you can feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish and you can feed him for a lifetime. I think that's the best analogy that or metaphor that we can give you guys is, are you here to do it now? And if so, if you really just want to make the most money now and try to approach it in a super aggressive way, I have to let you guys know that Learn, Plan, Profit is probably not the best for you. But if you're someone that's really willing to invest time in yourself and work with a group, I'm with this group every single day. If you want to message me, we could hold conversations every single day. As long as you complete the course and you cover the content and you want to have just progressive, questions and answers and stay connected and stuff like that, then it makes sense on then why, Learn, Plan, Profit would then be a little bit more situated to you. But again, if you want to approach it in a very aggressive way with a very aggressive approach when it comes down to investing in the stock market, it's just not my style. And I need to make that very, like you guys saw with my trades today, right? There were so many stocks that were showing signs of an uptrend, but all I continue to remind myself is, hey, discipline, right? Patience, making sure that the margin of profit is worth it. These are things that I have to continue to repeat myself because it's like a mental warfare. And this is what we do every single day. There we go. Again, TQQ sold off from that high and now back at that middle VWAP. I like it. DGAS trying to recover. JNUG with that huge sell-off back at the SMA line. Again, really nice push up. This is all, again, when the good deals happen, just like we talked about, right? Down to the SMA line, pushes up, locked in profits, peaked out RSI, peaked out MACD. Makes sense, right? UWT continuously making higher highs, bouncing off the middle VWAP. I like it. LABU peaking out, back at the middle VWAP. We'll see if it starts to recover. Look at that, what's it called? MACD, look at the RSI. It's looking solid. There's so much potential when you can stay disciplined. I think that's something that's very overlooked, right? If you can stay disciplined and you can be patient and selective and say more no than you do yes, I think that's what's important. But yeah. So can you make an updated video on what studies you use? I use all the same studies. If there were new studies that I were to add to my, charts, I would update the course for Learn, Plan, Profit, right? There's no new studies. So the VWAP indicator, the SMA, the EMA, those are all videos that are in the Learn, Plan, Profit course that show you how I use them, how to add them, and why I utilize them and what I utilize them for. It's all clearly explained in the course. Yeah, so if someone is having issues with a delayed quote and stuff like that, so I see a couple questions about someone having delayed quotes, you could either contact a TD Ameritrade rep over the phone and they can assist you in accessing real-time quotes, or they might ask you to open up a real account, which is free, and then they can subscribe you to real-time quotes, but it goes hand in hand. So LABU just broke above 71.17. So now it's starting to show signs of a recovery. So again, as something pushes up very aggressively, I would wait a little bit more for a pullback and as it continues to uptrend. Will you ever have time for a girl? You always seem busy. It's a question I ask myself all the time, right? No, it's something like I really enjoy what I do, and I think people can easily see that, right? Like I want to surround myself with people that I want to either be like, or people that really inspire me and keep me motivated. That's why I have my Tech Bud Solutions team, right? They're all individuals that really motivate me and keep me on top. And it's something that I find to be very important. So yes, I find relationships to also be very important, but as of right now, my main focus is, like my work. And I think that's something that a lot of us like have in common. So that's why I find this overall community to be so effective. I love Tech Bud Solutions and what it's been able to provide for people. And Learn, Plan, Profit is just, the next tier up, where it allows you to stay a little bit more connected and in tune with myself, and allows us to work a little bit on a closer basis. And again, lifetime access. You get to watch me trade live every single day. And again, you get to ask questions and surround yourself with people that will motivate you and inspire you every single day. And it's very uplifting. We have a lot of conversations time after time of just having a good time and really just trying to make the most of every opportunity that we're given. And anytime that I have any questions or any ideas and stuff like that, the LPP team has to be the team that I run that by. So thanks for the peek into LPP. Very insightful. Super happy to have you within this live stream. So we just passed that 1 hour mark. So we're 2 minutes after. So an hour and 2 minutes after the market has opened. So I don't want to take too much of your guys' time. I'll keep you guys up to date with my degas position. I think natural gas is really starting to show signs of a peak formation. It did not make higher highs, which is something that I found to be attractive. And it's progressively, trying to make lower lows. So if we can see natural gas drop down to that middle VWAP, the reason that I'm still holding my degas position is because if we end up covering back up to around this area right here, I could be up another $300 to $400, which will put me a little bit over $1,000 on the day. So I'm really happy with how today has played out. I want to make sure that I lock in profits and that I don't focus too much on over trading and just focus on whatever's actively trending up. So that's pretty much what we'll be doing for the rest of the day. I just wanted to remind you guys again, for all those that want to take action and want to do this, on a day-to-day basis, you're going to have the weekend to get started on the course. And then we start again with the live trades this Monday. So if you want to take action personally, I want to thank you again for tuning in to this live trading. Again, it's that first link down in the description if you guys want that $75 off coupon. And that's really just it. So yeah, I believe, right, the coupon is still working. So as long as the coupon's still working, that means that there's still spots available, and then we can kind of go from there. But again, guys, thank you guys again so much for your time. I wish you guys an absolute amazing rest of your Friday. Let's keep it simple. LABU just broke above 71.50. It's showing signs of a recovery, and the MACD and the RSI look good. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. So I think it just covered 1% since we've been closing it out. Thanks for the coupon. Of course, super happy to have you guys here. So where's the coupon? The coupon code is, or the coupon name is live. So if you don't even have the coupon and you want to click the normal links that we have, click the link and then just use promo code live, LIVE. Or if you want the direct access to the coupon, simply refresh the screen and it should say, $75 off. Click that link and that will automatically save you $75. So again, it's for those that are outside of the US and within the United States as well. If you're outside of the US, I believe that there's an extra fee that applies. It's not from us, it's from our host website. So thank you guys again for your time. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Continue working hard, continue following your dreams. Let your passion be what drives your success. It's time to have some raising canes. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.